Hi, I'm Kristi Johns, and I'll be presenting the poster session, Asserting Power, Reclaiming Space, How Students Are Leveraging Social Media to Transform Their Campuses. The goal of this poster is to walk you through the theoretical framework of network counterstorytelling as a means for more effectively bringing marginalized voices, especially that of students, to the center of your design process. The framework of network counterstorytelling is built around three key theories. One is counterstorytelling, a framework developed by Solorzano and Yoso, describing how individuals and communities counter marginalization through stories and storytelling. The second element of network counterstorytelling is the use of social media. Dana Boyd has been a leading voice describing social networking sites and their role in amplifying stories and building community. The third component is networked counterpublics, a relatively recent theoretical framework proposed by Jackson and Foucault Wells. Network counterpublics describe the communities formed within digital spaces, whose participants build connection through a shared experience of marginalization. This research builds off the understanding that implicit bias undergirds the design of higher education. This bias is governed by racialized, gendered, and classed assumptions and is embedded in our academic institutions. So, as education leaders and researchers, when we learn that our campus is not effectively supporting all of our students, our focus should be on identifying where we need to redesign the ideologies, policies, and cultures shaping our university. This means finding innovative, efficacious methods for bringing student voice to the center of the decision-making process, and not just their voices, but their leadership and their activism. This was the impetus behind 1G Design. With my colleagues, Ethan Chiu and Lauren Mendoza, we launched a grassroots counter-storytelling campaign led by and for first-generation college students. The campaign initially began as an Instagram account sharing first-hand stories from first-gen students. It then expanded into a podcast, and eventually a website was made in order to house all these storytelling resources. The following are some reflections from Lauren and Ethan about the benefits they found from running this campaign.
I would say how the stories were shared, the act of seeing them and reading them, I think that was a really big thing. How it has like the power to make people feel like understood, seeing other people that have similar identities and similar experiences. It makes you feel like you're not alone, and I think that's what I noticed a lot of people were saying.
Yeah, and to add on to that, I think a lot of the people that we interviewed were friends and colleagues through diversity programs or just in general. And I think learning through these stories, a much deeper context, the impact it's had on them and the networks that they've built around. I think learning a lot from that was really beneficial.
At the close of the 2019-2020 academic year, I performed an ethnographic analysis of the 1G Design campaign. This is a method of digital ethnography that includes both quantitative and qualitative data points. The quantitative data was used primarily for social network analysis, measuring aspects of social capital for the students involved in this campaign. This was complemented with a qualitative deep dive into this co-constructed narrative the students created by sharing their stories. While these specific metrics aligned with my research goals, various forms of improvement metrics can be embedded within the network counterstorytelling framework. This framework demonstrated its ability to bring marginalized voices to the center and in positions of leadership. It proved an effective research framework for gathering both qualitative and quantitative data, and it produced a methodology that embodied the nimbleness necessary to conduct iterative, transformational research and practice. I'll close this poster with some reflections from students and administrators involved with the campaign.
A lot of what we learned was just listening to students and what they need rather than just the university trying to make the changes and implement what they think is best. Us actually having a feedback and a voice in university policies and changes.
I think a lot of people are still hung up on assumptions that we often will make about the first gen experience. All the sort of theories that, again, perpetuate deficit narratives call out how, there's so many interventions out there that exist and where are they sort of missing the mark. And I think a lot of times they don't hold up this mirror to seeing that this is all, latent with deficit approach and deficit mindset without, that education behind understanding what deficit narratives are and taking a strengths-based approach to it. We're all going to sort of continue the same old, same old.
They need to be ready to listen. Us just bringing this change to them won't actually do anything unless they're willing to make the change and kind of interact with it.
My recommendation would be that in any presentation to an administrator, faculty, anyone in the higher ed, I would say really be honest and transparent about, and you have the data to showcase that, but I think just being honest about how, what's not been working, right? And so let's take a step back.
If you would like to learn more about network counterstorytelling, you can use the QR code here or go to the website included here in blue, which will be linked in the presentation. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, the 1G design campaign, which was an unfunded project run solely by students, was pushed into a forced sabbatical. If you are interested or you know anyone who's interested in supporting or being a part of the campaign, links to the website, podcast, and Instagram account will be included in this presentation, along with this QR code and URL. You are also free to take screenshots of these final slides. If you have any additional questions about this research, feel free to reach out to me and/or Ethan and Lauren. Thank you so much for your time.